guys, so I know that I made my Christmas video a couple of weeks ago. I did that on purpose because I knew that this time was going to be nuts, not just with like the post-surgery healing, but also work was going to be nuts and just gearing up for Christmas. And of course, I ended up getting a flu or something, so I'm a little bit under the weather. So that's why I did it so early, but still, with this Christmas weekend coming up, I thought, man, it didn't feel right for me not to make a video this weekend. And so I thought, let me just take a couple of minutes and just to have a quick little chat with you guys. And of course, since it's the holidays, I thought I would dress up in the usual garb of a tropical Hawaiian shirt. This is a video just about like the universe and intuition. It was actually inspired by a conversation that I just had with a coworker. And this is actually a conversation that I've had several times throughout my life. When people find out that I'm from the Bronx and from Bushwick, Brooklyn and Spanish Harlem and these places that I lived, it's always like, wow, like, were you scared? How did you survive? You don't look like, you don't sound like you came from that area. Like, I get all this stuff. And mostly like, was it scary for me growing up? And my answer to that is always no, first off, because when that's how you grew up, that's all you know. So you really can't compare with anything that's real. And it is just kind of normal. But then also, there is this thing about like street smarts. And to me, street smarts was always intuition. And to me, intuition is the universe guiding you, the universe leading you. And so I just want to give a couple of quick examples of how I just feel like the universe is guiding me through intuition. This story always pops first in my head, but I remember when I was in school, there was I would walk, from home to school, from school to home every single day. And it was like maybe I would say 8 blocks or so. And it was on a main avenue in Manhattan, which was, it was getting near towards the end of the island. So the traffic would be extremely high, but then it would kind of thin out pretty quickly. And I felt safe, walking that avenue. But when I walked, there was this guy. We weren't really friends, but I would, we would just see each other, and he'd always be ahead of me, or I'd be ahead of him, and we would just acknowledge each other and just keep walking. But this one day, for some reason, I just felt like I needed to, along that avenue, along that walk, the projects were right by the sidewalk. That was like the entrance to go into the projects. And of course, I always avoided the projects. But for some reason that day, something told me to walk through the projects instead of walking through this avenue. And I remember even as I'm walking through the projects, I'm like, Mikey, why are you doing this? Like, it didn't make sense, but I just felt the need to take that walk. I learned later on that guy who, again, I would see him all the time, he was like jumped, and he was severely beaten, near death. It was that extreme. And that was like the first time where I think I realized that I had those moments throughout my entire life, but that was the first time where it was a little click in my brain where I thought, that's interesting. Another time, and this is a time where everyone laughs because it's kind of funny. I'm on the train going home from high school, and I think I left early, so that it's the middle of the day. The trains were almost empty, not a lot of people on them. And so I'm just standing up, and I'm wearing this Gap jacket. Now this jacket, this was back in the day when Gap was like the thing. Everyone wanted Gap stuff, and it was their signature jean jacket. And my dad, he was a tow truck driver, he ended up acquiring that jacket from one of the cars, but it didn't fit anyone else, any of my other siblings. So I ended up getting this jacket. That never happened. So I loved this jacket, and I wore it all the time. It was just fantastic. But I'm on the train wearing my jacket, and these 3 guys come up to me, and they were these super tall dudes. And one of the guys, he's like, I like your jacket. And me being naive, I'm just like, oh, thank you. I like it too. And he goes, give it to me. And I just thought, no, I said, no, I'm not giving you my jacket. And he's like, you give me your jacket or we're gonna beat you up. And I'm like, no, you cannot have my jacket. I was just, I couldn't give up my jacket. I didn't want to give it up. And so he was saying how they were going to follow me. And once we were out, they were going to beat me up. This was before cell phones. So it was like, they couldn't call it, like it was that kind of situation. And this was like in the parts of New York where there aren't many police around. It's like, it's not that kind of situation. So they said something like, we'll even give you a head start. So they end up going to the other side of the car, right? So now each stop is, coming along and I'm freaking out like, oh my gosh, what do I do? They're gonna kill me, right? So I finally, there's this one stop and I decide to get off at that stop. It wasn't my stop, but I got off anyways. So I get off the stop. Now, I think they expected me to, and I expected me to run this way and kind of just head towards the exit. But instead, I headed towards them. And you could see, why did I think I stood a chance? Was I trying to be tough? No, I couldn't tell you to this day why I decided to run towards them. Or not run, but I walked towards them. And again, as this is happening, I'm thinking, what are you doing? But it's like I couldn't stop myself. I'm walking towards them and I could, they were just like slowly walking towards me. I don't know if they thought maybe, what's wrong with this dude, but they were like cautiously walking towards me and I'm walking towards them. And just like a scene out of a movie, I kid you not, like as I'm walking towards them, all I hear, there's another set of doors like that I'm approaching on that train that I just got off of. And as I'm walking towards them, I hear the ding ding, like the doors are gonna close. So I just do like a quick sidestep into the car and the door is shut. And now they're out there, I'm in the car. Not a smart move because as many of you New Yorkers are aware of, I'm sure, the chances of those doors reopening up because someone held on to, like, that was a big thing that happened. So yeah, it wasn't the smart, and again, I wasn't even thinking. It just naturally happened to where I just sidestepped in, the doors closed, and the train just started moving. And they're like banging on the door. And at that point, I just remember giving them, I gave them the finger. And the people in the train just started clapping. Like, it was this like super cool moment, but at the time I was deathly afraid and again wondering, why would you do that? Like, what? Oh my gosh, what got into you? So yeah, and stuff like that. Even like with me, like I mentioned, joining the military, I was voted most likely to succeed. I had gotten like financial gifts from the school districts, and I got an award from the president of the United States. Like, all signs, and I mentioned this in another video, but all signs were for me to go into college. I was going to NYU on the weekends, like all this crazy stuff. But something told me to join the military instead. I know now that had I not joined the military, because I didn't grow up properly, I kind of needed like a parental figure in the sense to lead me into manhood. And because I didn't get that from my family, not a lot. Looking back, I know that was the best decision for me, and I know that something guided me towards that situation. And most recent, like I mentioned, 2017, after years and years after I got out of the military of just working customer service jobs and just like barely above minimum wage and thinking, man, is this my life? Like, gosh, I feel like there's something else out there for me. And I kept hearing that voice, but fear, because of fear, I kept pushing it down. And 2017 was the year where I decided, you know what, I'm gonna listen to this voice for once. So I did end up, just selling the house and moving away and taking a chance on a job that I thought was a scam at first, but it wasn't. And it's led me on this amazing journey that I'm still currently on. And I always grew up with like wanting to do a bucket list, you know, and just putting stuff on this list. And I don't know, it seems like I'm doing all of this stuff that's on my list that I never thought that I would do. And I know that it's all because of that one moment where I decided to listen to that intuition, listen to the universe that had been telling me for years, I got you. Like, you know, do what you need to do. There is a whole world out there for you to see, and I want you to see it. So just do it. Just take that chance. And so I'm so glad that I did. So I wanted to just tell this story because during this time, that's what I think of. I'm so thankful. I'm so happy and thankful that I do have my intuition and that the universe does speak to me. And the fears, you know, like man, I will jump into something blinded, you know, just because I know that if I'm being guided, if the intuition is telling me to do it, it's never failed me. It hasn't failed me yet. And actually, the only times that I did fail myself is when I didn't pay attention. And a lot of the mistakes that I made was because I didn't pay attention to that intuition. So yeah, again, I want to wish all of you a Merry Christmas. I'm pretty sure I'm gonna do a Happy New Year's. That's gonna be a special video. Happy New Year, right? That's the proper way to say it, I believe. But I will make a video for that. But for now, Merry Christmas. And if you guys have any, I just wanted to tell an uplifting story coming out of craziness. But if you have any stories like that, I'd love to hear it. So please, like would be awesome. Subscribe would be even better. But most importantly, just comment and tell me if you have any inspirational, just uplifting, spiritual stories. I would love to hear it. Okay, bye.